Hey everybody, and welcome to the Two Tech Dudes podcast.
Yeah, two dudes talking tech.
Our very first podcast. Super excited.
Here we go.
I'm Danny Bimbo.
And I'm Jesse Herbert.
And we are two educational technology specialists in our school district.
That's
we both
right.
came from a classroom background. So our spin on this is to give you some tips and some tricks and maybe some ways to really rethink what learning inside the classroom looks like.
And whether you are a seasoned veteran teacher looking for some extra skills or you are a new teacher looking to develop your digital classroom, we hope that we'll give you some nice, easy ways to ease yourself into this technology world and make yourself and prepare your students to become 21st century learners.
So in today's podcast, we're going to talk about getting yourself logged into Google Chrome using the Chrome browser to get to the internet school.
That's right.
I tell my students we're going to access Google Drive. In our school, we call it the Google Garage, where we store all of our Google junk.
Or, as we like to call it, the recycling symbol that Google has.
We'll show you how to access Google Chrome. We'll show you how to access your Google Drive. And then we're going to talk about creating and nesting some folders inside Drive to keep your work and your students' work nice and organized.
Get organized now, stay organized for the future. So,
absolutely, and we encourage you get your computer open, and as we're talking, walk yourself through the steps and pause along the way and stop and try out some of the stuff as we go.
That's it. So let's get it going right now. Whether you're on a MacBook, whether you're on a Windows platform PC, laptop, Chromebook, the first thing we want you to do is go ahead and open up your Chrome browser, because that's kind of the ground floor foundation for you today for this podcast. And you're going to, if you haven't, log in using whether it's your Google Apps for Education login information, or if you have your own personal Gmail account. Just to forewarn you, that Gmail account will not work for Google Classroom. You have to be linked through Google Apps for Ed for that. But for the Drive and Docs purposes, if you have a personal account, you can use it for that as well.
Sure. If you haven't used Google Chrome yet to link your data together, the very first screen that you'll see will be a sign-in screen. You have to enter an email and a password. Like Jesse said, you can enter your own personal Gmail account, or if your school has a domain account, you can enter that as well. One of the issues that we've seen just as educators in the school has been we teach the students to log in through the Chrome browser at school, but then when students go home, they are not taking what I like to call the Chrome bus to the internet school at home. They're still using Internet Explorer or Firefox or Safari.
Especially for elementary or lower middle school students, the internet is the internet. They think the E on your desktop or the compass, if you're on a Mac, that's the internet. Now, you'll be able to access some of the Google functions through all the web browsers, but they are highly limited. So what we recommend is if you're on your home computer right now and you don't have Chrome installed, please put that on right away, because that's going to eliminate a lot of issues in the future for this podcast.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up Google Chrome, and in the top left corner of the bookmarks bar, and if you don't see your bookmarks bar in the top left corner, the Control Shift and the letter B if you're on a Windows PC.
And if you're on a Mac, it's Command Shift.
We'll open up the bookmarks bar, and you're looking in the top left corner are your apps. Also in the right-hand corner, if you are opened up to google.com into the search engine, in the right-hand corner, you'll see, I like to call it the square of all squares. It's nine gray squares in the right corner, and it's 9 colored squares in the left-hand corner. Those are your apps.
I like to call it Hollywood Squares because to me, that's what it reminds me of, watching the old Hollywood Squares game show. So, I'll take X for the block.
Whoopi's in there somewhere.
That's right.
So go ahead and open up your apps, and let's go ahead and open up Drive. And Jess and I were just having this conversation about the old Drive versus the new Drive. Google Drive in the last couple months has been updated. There are 2 versions now, and I I'm still an old Drive user. I'm still teaching my students the features in old Drive because I feel most confident with it, and I feel like my teachers are most confident with it. Jesse's trying to expand out.
I'm going out on the limb here. I'm going out on the limb. I have switched over to the new Drive and kind of forcing myself to learn the ways of the new Drive. It's not too much different. There are some actually better features in the new Drive or new features in the Drive that the old Drive doesn't have. So future podcasts, we'll be comparing the two. But for this purpose, whether you're new or old, the features are still the same for what we're going to be doing today.
Okay. So the idea is to give up something maybe that is not a home run. As a classroom teacher, we were both classroom teachers for a number of years. You want to swing for the fences every time, but sometimes it's a base hit or sometimes it's a double. And our goal in our positions and our professions that we're in now is to try and convince people maybe to give up the base hit or give up the double and swing for the fences again and try and hit that home run. So I think back in my years in the classroom, having this big filing cabinet with a file with a drawer for language arts or for social studies or for science and math, and then inside I'd fill that drawer with worksheets and dittos and workbooks that I could pull from. And I'm one of those people, just like, if I don't see it in front of me, I'm going to forget that it's there.
Absolutely. And I was almost to the opposite where I would have those folders, but they'd be in my documents. So maybe I was creating some things on my computer, or, I'd archive some of those lesson plans, or I'd download some of those PDFs that I'd use and I'd archive them and I'd type in, week of Thanksgiving or November, and I'd have all that stuff kind of tucked in there. And then I found myself either recycling a lot of the same stuff and not changing it for my class mentality, or I'd put it on a pen drive, lose it, and never see it again, and be stuck to kind of be looking for it again.
Sure, absolutely. The brilliance of the platform that we're going to show you today is that the content doesn't have to die in a filing cabinet. It
Absolutely.
doesn't have to die on a flash drive. You can go and back in and work on it and collaborate on it at any time and modify it and shop it out directly from here. So we're going to go in actually first and create a couple of folders. So inside Drive, if you're using the old Drive or if you're using the new Drive, all the way in the left-hand corner, there is a red button. In the old Drive, it says Create.
And in the new Drive, it says New.
Yep. And we're going to go ahead and actually make some new folders. And for me, I would like to create folders that are content specific. So I'd like to go in and create a language arts folder, create a math folder, create a science folder, and a social studies folder.
And I always say that I'm going to be nice and organized and create these folders, but it doesn't always turn out that way. I mean, when you get started, you're going to go in there and you're going to be like, listen, I'm starting these folders out. I'm going to have language arts. I'm going to have math. I'm going to have social studies. And then all of a sudden, My Drive is going to fill up with a bunch of stuff that you're going to be struggling to put into those folders. But don't worry, that's also very easy to do in the future. So start out the right way. Give yourself a bunch of good folders to put content in at the beginning, because it will make your life less crazy as it goes on.
So I go ahead and hit Create, or in the new Drive, go ahead and hit Add. I just created a folder called Math. If I'm looking at my screen, it asks me to type a new name for the folder. So I type in the name Math. And I see two parts of the screen. I see in the left-hand side of the screen a scroll bar with all of my folders in it. I also see in the right-hand side of the screen, in kind of stretched out mode, I also see my folders in there as well. And the idea is that on the left side, if you're thinking in terms of like Windows or in the Finder on a MacBook or on a Mac computer, we can just go and choose the files, open up a file, and the screen in the middle will populate with all of the content inside that folder or file.
It's very similar to the My Computer or the Finder app, where it'll also give you the choices to go between thumbnails, which are the actual little previews of the documents that you're creating, or to give you that list view, which will give you the options to tell you the last time it was opened, the size of the file, all those extra things. It'll actually let you sort that way between the size, the type, the date it was created, the last access you had of it, to make it a little bit more easy to access those documents that you may be creating when you do populate it with a lot more stuff.
Sure. All right, so once I go ahead and create my math file, I can find it either on the left-hand side or it's in the center of the screen. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And we're going to use something called nesting now, where we create, and I use this example with my students, those Russian stacking dolls. So I have this big doll, and I pop the top off, and inside is a smaller doll, and then pop the top off, and inside is a smaller doll. So we're going to go ahead and use this nesting feature. So I open the folder, I create a folder, and imagine just having a manila folder, right? Take a Sharpie out and I write math on the top of it.
Even a drawer. That's your filing cabinet drawer. Math. Boom, right there. You pull open that drawer.
And I always tell the kids, when you open up a folder for the first time, we see another blank white screen that says drop files here. So I asked the students again, well, what do we want to do? We've created the folder. Now we want to create another subcategory inside that folder, maybe for multiplication or for fractions or addition.
And if you really want to get it, I mean, listen, we're all moving towards the Common Core. Start listing them by standard. I mean, you can create files inside your math for lessons to specific standards. Yeah. So that way, if you do an assessment on your kids and you realize that they're lacking in a certain standard, you can open up that drive, see what resources you've pulled in there, and then pull right from there and take from that.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to go ahead and create again. So we're looking for that red button in the corner of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and create another folder or add another folder in. I'm going to have to create a name for that new folder. And this time, let's call it addition. Go ahead and hit create. And now I've created a math folder or math drawer. I've opened it up and I've created another subfolder inside. I've nested another folder inside. So I think that's where we'll stop with the folders now. I think it's time to actually start
creating something. Absolutely.
Some content.
All right, Dan. That's going to do it for our first podcast of Two Dudes Talking Tech. We went through your Google Drive, how to sign in through the internet browsers, preferably Chrome, how to set yourself up with some folders. Come back next week. We're going to be releasing the podcast in regards to creating documents, some of the functions inside documents, and that all-important yet scary feature, sharing documents.
Thanks, everyone.
Listen, if you haven't, check us out on Twitter at 2TechDudes. You can also view our blog on our Weebly website at www.twotechdudes.weebly.com. Please like, favor, share this video with everyone, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.